Well, my camera's broken, bro. I don't know what happened. It was literally not on the floor, but yep, it's broken, and I've been trying to find a way to fix it, and it ain't fixing itself anytime soon. So expect this to probably be the last video I record on this GoPro Hero 10. I'm gonna send it in for repairs probably tomorrow morning. But yeah, we're having a cookout tonight. So today I'm going to be teaching you, personally, a beginner's guide to livestock guardian dogs. There's many different breeds. We're going to talk about specifically 2 of them today. The Great Pyrenees, which most of y'all are familiar with if you watch like most farming channels on YouTube. A lot of them have guardian dogs. Or the German Shepherd, which we have personally, but she's not a livestock guardian dog. Let's get into it. So for this segment, I'm going to be talking about the German Shepherd because I have the most experience. My most experience I have like, what, since February? I think that's enough. So for German Shepherds, I will say, when you get a German Shepherd puppy, don't expect them to really be independent for their first couple months because they're puppies. When you get them, usually between like not 4 weeks old, like 8 to 12 weeks old, what you will notice is that, of course, their ears are up, like always. Sometimes you will notice their ears will flop down. Don't worry about their ears, I will say. Although they're cute, you don't have to worry about them. It's not a medical sign, it's them teething, which is a dark era in and of itself. If you don't know what teething is, you clearly haven't owned a dog before to experience it, at least. Maybe you adopted a dog that was a bit older and you didn't have to go through this era. But their teething era is terrible, and it goes through all dogs. It's where they bite you, they nibble at you, they'll bite anything. And oh, if you try to put your shoe on, that thing's gonna be gone in the next 5 minutes. Trust me, you're late for work trying to look for that, only to realize your dog chewed off half of it. German Shepherds are really mouthy dogs. And that's what I'm gonna say, because they're incredibly mouthy. But they're also incredibly friendly too. And they're looking for someone to latch onto. So if you are the right person, and you go for a ride every morning or something like that, you can put your dog in your car with you, and oh boy, they'll love you. They love going on rides in the car, and usually like when I'm going in, like when I'm driving in the morning, sometimes I'll have the dog with me. It's really cool. The dog sits in the back seats, but the dogs will love that sort of stuff. So that's what I'd recommend for you personally, to train them. But there's also many other different ways of training them. But next we're going to talk about them being a livestock guardian dog. Then we're going to move on to the Great Pyrenees. So for them to be a livestock guardian dog, of course you need to have them fenced in because, well, you can't trust any dog unless they're incredibly well trained and you know you can just turn your back on them. I will say, with any livestock guardian dog, you need to monitor them for that first few months, maybe even up to a year. Because if you don't monitor them, this is not from personal experience, but this is from other experiences I've heard of people. Keep in mind, I took a lot of notes for this before I made this video, and I looked up at a lot of experiences for this. So I will 100% say with certainty they are a pain. They will be annoying, and if you let them loose for too long, they might go at your chickens, your ducks, your animals, your livestock, thinking they're trying to play with you. But no, they're not. What they're actually trying to do is run away from the dog instead of actually playing with it. It's like my puppy who thinks that like she can go and do whatever she wants around the chickens and the cats and whatever. Now once that era in your dog's life is like over, what I'll say for a fact is, well, you can let them loose just in a fenced area, and you might want to keep your animals separate from them, but other than that, they make good dogs. I will say for a fact, German Shepherds when they grow up are really anywhere from 75 to 110 pounds. So they're pretty good. They're about a little bit heavier than the coyotes. Now here in the Northeast, so in the Northeast, in interior New England, I don't know if you call Northwestern Connecticut interior New England, unless you constitute interior New England as away from the coast. Then yeah, this is not interior New England. But up there they have wolves. We have big coyotes, massive coyotes, 70-pound coyotes. They're a bit smaller. They had just more weight on them, man. They need to hit the gym. Coyotes, man, because they're going too much of their chickens. They're doing all this sort of stuff to try to stay fit. I think they're staying a little bit too fit out there, if you know what I mean. So because they're that big, they're pretty intimidating. But I will say, you can't expect them to do all the dirty work out there. You should defend your animals as best you can. Use livestock guardian dogs as kind of like a way of knowing like what's out there. But I'm pretty sure I'm going to move on to the Great Pyrenees. I'm going to tell a story in the next one that you probably heard before. Now, the Great Pyrenees is one of the greatest livestock guardian dogs. I'd say probably better than the German Shepherd. And I have a story I'm about to tell. This is not my story, I'll say that. This is someone else's story. But I'm pretty sure they're also in New England. Don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure it's Vermont. But what ended up happening was this Great Pyrenees livestock guardian dog named Casper. He was out defending his livestock, and guess what? He came across a pack of coyotes, and he did what any livestock guardian dog would do in that situation, and ran at them. Pretty sure that coyote pack had maybe like, what, 12, 13 coyotes in them? And out of those 12 or 13, I don't know the exact number, he killed 8 of them. 8 coyotes. And Great Pyrenees are around, I'd say, like maybe like 60 to 90 pounds. Coyotes are really anywhere from like 45 to 80 pounds. It's a pretty big range. You don't know the actual weight of coyotes. So this dog was incredibly brave for doing that. He killed coyotes, man. Like, do you know how much of a fight those things would put up? Pretty sure they were just looking to fight him, not like turn him into like some like dinner, but like, oh boy, he put up a big fight, and he was hospitalized with some pretty significant injuries, but ultimately survived. So that's a story that you probably have heard before. And as I said, 60 to 90 pounds on the Great Pyrenees. They're pretty big. If you don't know, they're that white fluffy dog breed. They're really well known across like homesteading channels. They have a good reputation. I trust them, but as you probably also know, just like German Shepherds or any other livestock guardian dog breed, you can comment down below your favorite. Maybe I might feature them in a part 2, which I'll probably do by the end of the month. So be sure to click the like and subscribe. Also, PSA, we're not going to reach 3K by the end of the week, but maybe we will. Try next week, okay? Next week's always a new week. So yeah. Now, like any other dog breeds as I was just talking about, Great Pyrenees cannot be trusted for like the first 6 months of them being outside. You need to gradually train them to become accustomed to what you need out of a livestock guardian dog. So whether that be like be able to like put up a fight with any of the wilderness or just alert you. You want to use them as like, I don't really want to say a tool, because that would be quite the interesting way to put it. But I'm going to say use them as like a way of knowing what's out there. But also keep them as pets, man. You can keep them inside, outside. But I will say, if you're going to keep them outside, build them a nice house. You don't want them sleeping outside, especially if you live in the Northeast or anywhere that gets snow. Because trust me, in the winter times, it hits you when you least expect it. I always tell the story, and I always will be telling the story. I could be in my 80s always telling the story, man. 2024, February 13th, or February 13th, 2024, whatever you want to say it was. Guess what happened? We were supposed to get 14 inches of snow. Not 14, I think it was like 10 to 16. And they lowered the totals down to 1 to 3, but we ultimately ended up getting 14 inches. So you don't want them sleeping outside in that, man. That snow is coming down at 3 inches per hour. And they could get frostbite. So you either keep them in like a doghouse, which you can actually build, or you can get one yourself from like the Tractor Supply or any local like farm tools co-op that you can find this sort of stuff at. Or you can keep them inside like we will do with Linguini, our German Shepherd, which... that's not her real name. Her real name is Ember, but I like to call her Linguini because it's funny. So keep them inside, outside. Outside, I'll put an asterisk next to it. And yeah, I want to say, as I said, subscribe, hit the like button, whatever you want to do to help support. Even just watching this far is supporting this video enough. Click a video, man. Try to reach 4,000 hours by the end of the summer. I'll make a deal that if I reach 50,000 subscribers by the end of the summer, I will wear the most atrocious fit to the first day of school next year. So that'll be interesting if that ends up happening. Anyways, guys, I'm out here. Subscribe.